Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. Welcome for the best damn movie-related show here on the internet. I'm joined by my good friend Charlie. Say hello to everyone, Charlie.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Joe. Say hello to
Hey.
everybody. And for tonight, we're actually going to be talking about our top 10 movies of 2008. This is actually a year in review of best movies that came out during that year. So, without further ado, let's go on ahead. We'll go with Joe. Tell me what your number 10 is.
Number 10. Number 10, I put Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Empire. It was Brendan Fraser's last, mummy film, but I was almost debating not putting it on at all, but I gotta admit, it makes the list just because it's the mummy. You gotta put it on there. But what about you guys?
Okay. So, Charlie, what's your number 10?
The Mummy's on my list, but it's in the next section. Well, I can discuss that when we get to that part.
All right.
Yeah, that's actually in my next section as well. But what's your number 10, though, man? What you got?
My number 10 is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay, get this. I can actually cross that off my list because that's actually my number 7, so I can actually contribute with you on that.
Yeah, that movie is just funny. It's just the randomness. When I went in thinking, did I think I was going to see Jason Segel's middle? No. I thought it was just from the trailers. It looks kind of funny like that, and it was hysterical. Like the best part was was Russell Brand's Out of Snow getting introduced to that character. Just the opening sequence of like the song him do something and him humping the ground and or just throwing papers at old people, just telling them to do something. But his performance of Inside of You was just
God.
It was just hysterical. And it's just the cast had a pretty good cast in it. I mean, just from the people from Mila Kunis was in it. Paul Rudd as this kind of like idiot surfer dude, to Jonah Hill's appearance in it. And it's just like once the movie got Bill Hader was in it, but once the movie got to Hawaii, that's when the movie just picked up to being this hilarious. But Russell Brand was like hilarious in that movie, and the sequel too that they did was really funny.
Wait, there's a sequel to it? Oh yeah, the Out of Snow movie.
It's like a spin-off sequel. It's like Get Into the Creek.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember
that came out
that.
in 2010. Yeah, but no, Russell, Forgetting Sarah Marshall was just hilarious, and it's like we got a loner here.
You see, I love that movie. Every single time when I'm like having a bad day, I have to put that movie on because it has so many laughs and so many memorable things in this movie. Like you have Peter, who's actually suffering from the breakup of Sarah Marshall. He's trying to forget about her. He figures, I'm going to go to Hawaii to actually forget about my girlfriend. And I love Bill Hader's whole entire thing is like, don't you do it. Don't you go to Hawaii. And then next thing you know, he goes to Hawaii. And then I like whenever he's talking to Bill Hader as well, and he's on the phone. He goes, don't you talk to them. Don't you talk to them. Don't.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, Sarah, how you doing? And next thing you know, he goes, I think I just pretty much ruined her day. And they're over there just having sex for like the whole entire 5 to 10 minutes. So I thought this film was really funny. I really liked the part where Peter's actually sitting on the fire truck engine and he's actually in a pediatric hospital for kids. He goes, Doc, I think I have a disease. Peter, I hate to tell you this, but you're sitting on an fire truck. There's kids running around. He goes, come on, Doc, just look at it. He goes, it looks nice, Peter. You didn't even look at it. It's a nice dick. Put a rubber on. But the movie is just fantastic. Jason Segel does a really good job with this film. Also, too, like you mentioned before, I really loved Paul Rudd's cameo in this film, though, too, where he's just this stoner surfer dude who is like, hey, get up. No, you're doing too much. Now, what are you doing? Get back up. Okay, now lay back down. So I definitely love that. This Jonah Hill just comes in and does his thing and everything. This movie is great. So
I love the ending of the sequence where when you see her other show, Animal Instincts, with Jason Bateman, and at him putting that, that's not the only thing that they're going to be pounding on, or that prison joke.
Right? That part actually made me laugh though too. And I remember going to see this with somebody. We were just rolling out laughing the whole entire time. This is like the first time I actually watched a movie where I was laughing from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Agreed. And also, don't forget to have the song "Dracula's Lambent" in there too. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a nice little touch to it.
Right. Let's see here. For my number 10, I actually got Iron Man down with Robert Downey Jr. And I know that we actually had Tropic Thunder that came out along with it a couple of months back after that. Also, too, we also had Kung Fu Panda with Jack Black that actually came out in 2008 as well. But with Iron Man and everything, this is like our first introduction into the MCU, what Robert Downey Jr. could do. Everybody was taking a chance on him and everything. Jon Favreau was. And I used to make like little crack jokes here and there. I was like, what is Iron Man going to do? Snort cocaine and then run off and into the sky and everything. But this movie was really good. I really enjoyed the whole entire delivery of Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. I really thought that he did a really, really good job with that. I loved his character arc where he goes from being a douchebag playboy to not caring about anything to all of a sudden now he's feeling sympathy for the weapons that he's actually creating. And so now he wants to try and create something new, especially after being kidnapped in Iraq. I thought this movie was perfectly well done. I mean, you couldn't get any better than Robert Downey Jr. to play this role. He was made and born to play this role. But what do you guys think?
Started the whole Marvel franchise. I mean, look at it. Like after Iron Man took off, everything else started taking off after that. Yeah. I mean, on top of that, it really set a precedent. You know, than DC. Like my personal opinion, DC went downhill like from the beginning. Like that's just my personal take. But Marvel, I mean, after Iron Man, they just fucking took off right then and there. You know, it's like they took their time. They knew what they were doing. You know, they had a phase 1, phase 2, phase whatever going on. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, Iron Man 2 is definitely on my list. And yeah, everything they have with Iron Man, it was just A+. Like, you couldn't go wrong with it. You know, like Wonder Woman, you know, with the Wonder Woman that just came out, like there were so many things the audience was just like, look at this, look at that, look at that. But, I mean, Iron Man, it was just like, it was movies they took their time on, you know, because it really set a precedent for Marvel going forward. But what about you, Charlie? What do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, like it's higher up on my list. I have it on my like that. I forgot where I have it, but yeah, Iron Man. It was great. I mean, it started off the MCU, and then that wasn't. He appeared in another MCU movie that came out in 2008, The Incredible Hulk. So him showing up at the end, like, yeah, we're gonna start the Avengers. I mean, that sparked what the MCU was, and it was this movie, and it's just unfortunate that it could have done way much. Like it came out like early, which would have helped. But and then of course DC had their Juggernaut this year as well. We'll talk about it later.
I agree. I mean, at that time, everything the MCU was just being created. They actually were trying to establish their universe that we know today, and stuff like that. They had a couple of stumbles before, but then they actually realized what they were trying to create, and now they're just on a blockbuster roll and everything, and just has like a $1 billion, $1 trillion price tag on them now, compared to where they were back with the other Hulk movie that came out before the Incredible Hulk. They know what they know what they're doing now. They're well established. They're really good at what they're doing. So yeah, Iron Man is definitely on my list for my number 10. So that brings us to our number 9. What do you have for us, Joe?
I'm gonna lie, I didn't put them in order, to be honest with you guys. But looking at my list, I'd probably put 10,000 BC on there, number 9. Okay. I mean, it just had a great story arc. I mean, it was kind of a Hallmark movie with some action, but you know, it was good. It had a great set story. You know, something we haven't really seen in a while. But it wasn't too out there to be towards the top of the list. Like it wasn't, you know, action packed as Iron Man, in my opinion. So it wasn't like too up there, but it was still good to be put on the list, but more so to the bottom because it didn't, I guess, captivate me as the other films on the list did. So, okay. Yeah.
So,
what about you guys?
All right, my number 9 is Role Models. This movie was just hilarious. It's just I mean, you had a great cast. I mean, the bromance between Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd. I mean, it was perfect for this movie. And it's just, I mean, the cast for this was just so great. It felt like it was multiple reunions in one movie. You had the reunion from the Wet Hot American Summer, from Elizabeth Banks to Paul Rudd to I can't think of some of the other names, but they were in that movie. And then you had a couple members reuniting from the show, from the MTV's The State, which is MTV's spoof show, which had like a lot of the Reno 911 cast members were a part of this show. It was just everything about the whole Minotaur sequence was just hilarious. I mean, it's just, and then like when just the costumes, to him drinking that orange stuff to make you puke like Shrek.
Oh yeah.
To the whole LARPing situation with McLovin, and it's just, and then their fascination with Kiss. I mean, Kiss My Anthea, or whatever. And then him describing the real meaning of the song "Love Gun" by Kiss, and then them dressed up as Kiss doing the LARP situation, and then Jane Lynch is like counselor talking about, I did cocaine off this guy's butt or whatever. And then the sequence with the pretzel. Anytime this movie's on, I just turn to it, and it's always the right before they're about to do the LARP situation, and Ken Jeong as the king or whatever he's like, yeah, that's right, Burger Boy, you need to kiss my ring or whatever. And it's just, I mean, Ken Jeong's just got that personality that he can just do it. He's just hysterical. But this overall, the movie was just at a hard time. I originally had it as an honorable mention. It's like, you know what? I got to put it in my top 10. It's just a funny movie.
I agree. I saw this movie in theaters. I actually enjoyed this movie. It does have its moments being hilarious, and I also like the whole entire thing with the LARPing, McLovin being in it, and his parents looking down on him for who he is and everything, which is a geek and everything, and he actually represents who we are and culture and stuff like that. And I also like Paul Rudd. He goes from not caring about anything other than himself, and then same thing with Sean William Scott. And I definitely love that whole entire aspect where they're actually transforming and everything into the men that they actually want to be, and the kids are actually changing them. But I think the couple of the ones that I liked was when Sean William Scott was actually banging one of the moms in the camp and everything, and she comes out running whenever something goes awry with one of the kids or whatever, and the woman from the 40-year-old version goes, "So, what were you guys doing? I know that one of you guys were banging the mom. The other one was off going to a party or whatever. So what's going on?" So, but yeah, I thought this movie had really good comedic timing. I was actually kind of curious about how Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd would actually jive up, because Sean William Scott is more of the crazy, wild person and everything, and then you have, of course, Paul Rudd, who's actually the more chill, laid back kind of guy with a little bit of energy, but not as much energy as you would have with Sean William Scott. So I was kind of interested in that. That's actually why I went out and saw this movie, and I ended up liking it. I have to say, I don't blame you one bit for actually having that on your list.
Yeah, and this is the line. I'm like, okay, you white, you Ben Affleck. Well, I am white. So.
Yeah, I can't really comment on that movie. I honestly saw that movie in 2008, and I didn't watch it again, so I can't make, it's one of those movies where I can't make no comment because I barely remember it, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to pass on that one.
But you know what the funny thing is, Joe? I haven't seen this movie since 2008, and some things still stuck with me, which is ironic, that I could actually remember.
That's fair.
Right, but it's just ironic that I haven't seen a movie for a long time, and I still know the setup, I still know everything. But I also have moments like that too, where I don't remember certain things from. It's like something is just blocking that whole entire a certain movie that I've seen, that I know I've seen, but I don't remember certain aspects of it. So I actually can relate to that.
That's fair. You guys are talking. I'm just like, okay, yeah.
It's a good movie. Yeah, for me, number 9 is going to be Tropic Thunder. And
definitely,
this movie is hands down one of my favorite movies that I've seen from 2008, aside from my number 1. But this is actually the rise of Tom Cruise and his career, because remember, he was actually that insane actor jumping up and down Oprah Winfrey's couch.
Yeah.
Everybody called him Crazy Tom. And then all of a sudden he does Tropic Thunder. And he winds up going back on top, just like how Robert Downey Jr. did with Iron Man. So Tropic Thunder was the reboot into his life, into Tom Cruise's life. But what I love about this is the fact it's a spoof film, and it's actually a movie about making a movie that isn't really a movie in the first place. It's just them trying to be in a jungle and everything. And then you have Gary Busey in there. You have, of course, Matthew McConaughey being the agent and stuff like that. I thought this movie was really well executed between Robert Downey Jr., who actually winded up wanting to be black, so he decided to get an operation so the way he can be black. And then Jack Black, who actually wants to just get high on cocaine. And then, of course, Ben Stiller in this movie doing his Ben Stiller thing. This movie just has great comedic timing. It is just perfect. And then also, too, when they're going through the minefield, they go, oh, those are pretty cool special effects. And the guy all the book.
Oh, and then it tastes like cherry flavor.
Don't forget, though, there's actually another part, though, too, where Ben Stiller's actually kills a panda and then puts the panda's head as a hat and puts on his head, which makes it really funny. And then the other thing I really have to say that I liked was, like, towards the end, whenever they're running towards the helicopter, and all of a sudden this one kid just jumps out of nowhere, jumps on Ben Stiller's back and just stabs him. And then all of a sudden he just chunks him into the river. But what do you get? So I know this is actually one of your guys' favorites and everything too. So what did you guys like about it?
I thought the marketing was fantastic for this. Just the build up to it. I think they hosted the MTV Movie Awards of that year, and they had all three of them, and then they had a little funny promo. It was the funny promo was like them, all three of them together. It's like, how can we promote this movie? I'm like, okay, so it's so essentially it's so Ben Stiller is videotaping it, and like, what's gonna make my little nephew tick? So it's essentially just Robert Downey Jr. just like obliterating Jack Black's nuts, essentially doing everything he can, wearing the Iron Man food, kicking him in there, hammering it, like this random stuff. Just like, it's like, we don't need his nuts for the press tour. So that's what Downey Jr. is just doing it, and he's like, and he meets the nephew, and he's like, yeah, that's my nephew. He saw Iron Man 7 times and thought it was the second comedy. So Downey Jr. is going up to the kid, and he goes, hey, what's up? Would you like? He's like, do you like Iron Man? He goes, it'll do. So Dark Knight's out there, then you're screwed. And then the nephew's like, Christian Bale will kick your ass. And then the funny joke is like, okay, and he goes, what do you want to see? And then and he goes, all right, my name is Jack Black. They put a bomb in my face. They put a bomb in my head. And it's like, oh, thank God it's not going to blow. And it just blows up. And it's just all of them are, and then they come out there to promote, and Downey Jr.'s coming out like in all like douchebaggery outfits, saying that just because he's the better one of all three of them, because he just had Iron Man come out. And then the promos before the movie too, the fake trailers they have of all the cast members of Tug Speedman. I mean, this movie was just hilarious. It was just the perfect blend of action and comedy, and it was just funny. Joe, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, the movie was like so stupid. It was so good. You know what I mean? It's like it's like Airplane. Back from like the 80s or 90s. Like, you can't help but love it. It's just so funny. It's just so stupid. Like when I think Jack Black goes into the cabin and Ben Stiller's like, this is my friend Twigman. I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is going on? And then at the end of the movie, when the little kid jumps on his back and is like stabbing him, like, I lost my shit. I was like, this is so ridiculous. Like, you can't help but love it. And
Tom
then, like,
Cruise was the best part in it, though, is just like him going off, and then he reprised his character for when he hosted the MTV Movie Awards, and he's just like, I mean, Tom Cruise was fantastic in this movie. Just like going off. Is just I just remember that him in that movie. He was one of the best parts, and this is one of the movies that my dad actually liked Matthew McConaughey in it because he wasn't that like that suave douchebaggery, that character that he always plays.
True. I mean, like at the end doing his little dance, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is he doing? But it was good all throughout.
This is actually James Uppin's top 10 list. He's got number 10, Pineapple Express, number 9, Hellboy 2, number 8, Marley and Me, number 7, Iron Man, number 6, Kung Fu Panda, number 5, Gran Torino, number 4, Taken, number 3, Bolt, number 2, Wall-E, and number 1, The Dark Knight. And that's his 2 cents, he says. So
I didn't like I think like I said, I didn't include Take because it said Taken came out in 08, but I think it didn't come out into the States until 09, and that's when I saw it in 09. So I think that's why I was like, I couldn't include it on my list because that movie's awesome though. But I just couldn't include it on my list.
I understand. So let's see here. I ended up doing Tropic Thunder, so therefore it actually goes back over to Joe. So
I'd say The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, to be honest.
Which is underrated.
Yeah, it's highly underrated. I mean, like, you look at movies, you're more drawn to action, comedy, superheroes, but Benjamin Button was honestly, it was a well-taught story. You got, what's his name, Brad Pitt, going from old to young, and I'm just like, it's one of those stories you never think to hear. It's so different, it stands out. But I mean, the supporting actors, that I can't remember. The main impact on me was just the whole storyline in general. How you see things from a different point of view. Yeah, just a rare movie experience. I mean, what did you guys think? Did you guys see it?
I saw it. I thought it was a little. I thought it was a little too long.
Charlie's like, it sucked.
No, I didn't. It's not on any of my lists. I don't know. I like Brad Pitt. It's just like for like some things I was watching, and it's just that I think it fits the director because he makes those types of weird kind of movies in a sense that you don't see him make. I don't know. I don't remember it as that much. I mean, I watched it a while ago, and I don't like. I just remember Brad Pitt in it. And I just don't remember anything.
It's like that's it.
Pretty much. Sorry.
Oh, that's fair. It's fair. To each their own, as they say.
I came close to actually putting that on my list. It didn't quite make it.
John's like, it sucked.
But I ended up liking it though. I ended up really liking this film. Yeah, I really like this film. It's just that other films I had in my mind on what I thought was might actually outshine it a little bit more than the other. Because that's actually how I look at my list. I'm like, okay, what performance outshined this list and makes it different from this movie? That's actually how I actually make my list. And I definitely love this is actually what I call the Benjamin Button special effects, where we actually have the aging of movie stars now. Whenever you looked at The Irishman, for example, and stuff like that, if it wasn't for Benjamin Button, we wouldn't have that kind of thing going on, especially when RDJ is in Civil War and the Civil War movie and everything with Captain America. We would not have that technology if it wasn't for that movie. And I really have to say, this movie was really good. And it also has a moral to the story as well and things like that. I really have to say I cared about the characters. I cared about the development. I was also wondering, how is this movie going to end with him being young and stuff like that too? Yeah. Is he going to die young, or what's the whole entire perspective on how he actually dies, if he actually dies at all? So my imagination was just going a mile a minute with this movie. So that was actually a good movie and everything. I do think that's actually worthy of actually having that on that list. So good job on that one.
Yes.
So Charlie, what do you have?
All right, my next movie on my list, I've got Kung Fu Panda on there. It's just okay. It was just one of those enjoyable, like it's a kid movie, but it didn't really feel like a kid movie. It was entertaining. Jack Black was in it. Like the whole, like the voice actors that they got for this movie is just like, it's like one of those very rare occasions that you get all these people together and it's actually it actually is an entertaining movie. And it's just like from Angelina Jolie to Jack Black to Dustin Hoffman, Seth Rogen, Lucy Liu, Jackie Chan, like this from like the voice actors that they had in this movie. It was just, and it's just one of those entertaining. and it's just one of those. It's just an entertaining movie, and like they all are. All three of them have been or are entertaining. I mean, getting Jean-Claude Van Damme in one of them, and even Gary Oldman. I mean, it's just these are just entertaining movies, and it's just one of those entertaining, like lighthearted family movies. But it's just entertaining.
Okay.
More too.
Listen, I actually have The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, which I thought was really good. And this, for some reason, I'm a sucker for comebacks and everything too with actors. I'm always rooting for the next film to actually be better than what they are, and also too to be able to shape them into the actor that they once were. And I feel like The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke actually did that, because that actually peaked his whole entire career and everything in '08 and everything, because for a while Mickey Rourke actually disappeared from the scene, and all of a sudden he does The Wrestler. It's a low budget film, it's an independent film, and this is actually inspired by Jake the Snake Robinson, the wrestler from back in the '80s, and he uses those type of, even the songs and everything they actually use from the '80s as well, with the hairstyle bands and things like that, was perfectly well done. And then also too, Mickey Rourke talking about how passionate he is about wrestling and stuff like that. He's an amateur wrestler who's trying to be pro, and then he does a bunch of stuff that actually ruins his career and hits rock bottom, but he still has that passion in him to want to wrestle. And he's actually living out in a trailer. There's a bunch of things that actually goes on in this movie where you're rooting for Mickey to actually make a comeback, for his character to come back to where he once was, and he just keeps on hitting rock bottom after rock bottom. But that's just the way life is. 1 minute we're actually on the peak of our height, and the next thing you know, we're knocked down a couple of inches and everything, and we have to try and get back up again. And that's what I actually feel that I actually got from The Wrestler. And I think that not only that, but if it wasn't for The Wrestler, though, too, Mickey Rourke would not have been invited into the WWE for SummerSlam, where he was actually there. I forgot who he was actually wrestling or doing something, but I think it was like him wrestling against The Rock or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember it was during SummerSlam. So it wasn't for him doing that, doing The Wrestler. It would have actually been, he wouldn't have actually done anything. But what did you guys think? Did you guys see The Wrestler or anything like that? It's really underrated.
I saw like years ago. I saw bits and pieces of it. Like my brother and I were watching it. I think we got to a certain point. And then because we're wrestling fans. And then like the WWE, and then I stopped watching WWE, and I'm an AEW fan. And then, but I know what happens in it, and it's like I never really fully finished like watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get into it. I saw a trailer. It's one of those movies that didn't interest me. It's like, if it's not Rocky, pass.
I can understand that. Movies like that, it's not for everybody and things like that, and I totally understand it, and I respect that. And I get this. I actually stopped watching WWE after The Undertaker and ladder match and everything, but it was just something that was enticing, where I was like, okay, I want to try and watch something different outside of my wheelhouse. So I'm like, okay, let's go with The Wrestler and see how this is. And this is also during Academy Award season as well, where he was about to be nominated. So I'm like, okay, let's see where this is actually going to go. So I wound up liking it, even though I had like real low expectations, and those low expectations actually helped me to watch the film. So okay, so that was actually.
I didn't know. I said at that time period, I wasn't into those Oscar movies as much as I am now. I think I was like, that was 2008, so honestly, I forgot what.
That was years ago.
Yeah, that was like, it feels like a century. But yeah. But I just wasn't into those Oscar movies. But now I think, like I said, since like that, I try to watch a lot of movies as the years have gone on. So I think maybe I go back to it, maybe not. But then again, he just doesn't really like interest me. He just sounds kind of like a douche a little bit in real life, or just in the in the roles. I mean, he was kind of like, I don't remember him that much in the first Expendables movie. Because I didn't watch it for him. I watched it for the other guys.
Right, exactly. And Also, too, it wasn't for the wrestler, he would not have even been in the Expendables movie. But so that was another thing, though, too, that he had going for himself. He had a little bit of a peak season for Mickey Rourke. Yeah. He actually had a lot of things going during that time. Yeah. So let's see here. That was my number 8, and let's see here. Next we actually have number 7.
All right. So back to me. I said Step Bros. So I mean, I think that movie was just fucking hilarious. You got Will Ferrell, John Reilly?
John C. Reilly.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you got Adam Scott. Like me personally, I think Adam Scott killed it in that one. They're all singing in the van, and then he's just like, "You're not doing it right, babe. You're not doing it right. You're not hitting that note." And I was like, "Damn, this shit's good." And but yeah, I mean, like, Will Ferrell pretty much nailed that role right there. I mean, definitely. You got, he's like, 35-year-old, son, and, he meets John, and he's like, what, the same age?
You gotta call him Dragon.
And then in the middle, they're like, they become best friends, and when he jumped on the bunk bed and it came down to him, I was just like, all right, this sold it for me. This is fucking great.
And then the part where he dresses up like a Nazi to get the neighbors out.
I don't remember that part.
And then there was also another part, though, too, where he actually was making a bunch of noise so the way it made it look. He goes, "You're going to love this neighborhood. It is so good." And he's just doing something off the wall and everything to where they're like, okay, we do not want to buy the house. So I thought that was actually funny. Then the tuxedo bit was actually funny, though, too, where they actually go to the job interview for the tuxedos.
Yeah. You guys were in tuxedos to a job and we clean toilets. And then I think one of the sequences, I don't know if it was in the theaters version, but I think in like a director's cut or something, it had the scene with Seth Rogen about the gym teacher, and he's just sitting there like, he sounds like pretty cool dudes. Of course, their music video, Boats and Hoes. He's driving the boat and just crashes. Or the sequence is like, "Hey man, get your feet off the couch. Why y'all sweaty? Let's watch the cops." What did you touch my drum set? And then, or this sequence there's like, and it's like, "Oh, Shark Week, yeah, you got some serious hair on that. Still hate you, still hate you." And this song.
That movie is definitely what made Shark Week a thing. Like after that movie, everyone you see on Facebook is Shark Week.
And it's just, and then Rob Riggle's appearance is like, he would eat your dick like Kobayashi.
That's fucking great.
That movie's higher up on my list. It's on my list. That movie's so funny.
And then what you got for the next one?
My number 7, I got Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. It was just an entertaining Hellboy movie. It was Guillermo del Toro. It's just like Hellboy. It's just entertaining. It was like they built upon what the first one did. It was just great, and then they set up like a great moment at the end for the third one whenever they do it, and then they did the reboot, and I was like, oh. But no, this one was entertaining. Just the scene with them singing Barry Manilow is just that was just funny. It was just one of those. It was just an entertaining movie, and it's just and it had like Guillermo del Toro's like best guy. I think like Luke Goss playing the villain, and he's pretty good at playing villains. He always likes to like put the makeup and stuff on. I mean, he was a great villain in Blade 2. I mean, he's just got that niche with Guillermo del Toro, but he was a pretty good villain. But it was just and Seth MacFarlane voiced the third in command guy or whatever, the guy that uses his fog or whatever. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I just remember it just being entertaining.
Okay. Well, my number 7 was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, so I'm going to go with my number 6, which would be The Incredible Hulk, which is also underrated as an MCU film and everything too, because this is still an MCU film, even though it's by Universal Studios. It has nods to Stark at the very beginning with the credits and everything too. So you can actually tell that it is connected into the MCU. Everybody's like, well, I'm not sure if Thunderbolt Ross is still gonna be part of the MCU. Well, lo and behold, in Civil War,
Was.
he's actually part of it. And so now we're going to have the Abomination back again and everything in the MCU, which is something that I'm really happy about. I can't wait to see the motivation behind that. But after coming off of that horrible 2003 or 2004 Hulk movie, it was good to see something that was actually fresh, and also too seeing that the effects actually improved for that time, because I think the effects looks a whole lot better. And of course, you have Edward Norton playing Bruce and also the Hulk was really good. I felt like he did a very good job of playing both and balanced them out. And I thought that the Stan Lee cameo was really good when he winds up dying from the, from the blood and everything that was part of Bruce Banner. I thought that was actually pretty funny. I thought that the original Hulk showing up in this movie was really good. But Luke Ferrigno was actually pretty good for the cameo appearance. Liv Tyler does a good job in this film. The movie just delivers on all aspects. You have your action, you have your drama. You're wondering if Bruce is going to make it out of this thing and where are they going to go from here. And then all of a sudden you see that very first cameo and everything with Stark showing up. And then you know that the Avengers is actually going to be happening. So that was actually my number 6. So what did you guys think?
I have it as an honorable mention. I thought it was entertaining. It was a lot better than that piece of garbage that came out in 2003. The image, the color design of the Hulk was so much better in this one. It was just too greenish. Eric Bana was just he was just whiny the whole movie. In the 2003, that's all I got from it. Ed Norton played great. I mean, the love interest of Liv Tyler was great in this one too. It's just and the Abomination character itself, like I forgot his name that played him, but he was great as the Abomination. And then the fight sequences, the action was a lot better, and it was that, and then. Again, and then this was the when Stark's appearance at the end of it, like you knew, like okay, things are picking up like quickly now, and then ironically 2 years later, it picks up like tremendously for the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to comment on it. I mean, it was a great movie, and it just shows like what a fucking roided out human can fucking do, like you know, like what someone with immense strength can do. I mean, overall, yeah, Edward Norton, he was great in it, and yeah, it pretty much, as soon as you saw Iron Man in it, you knew that the Avengers, it was coming together. You knew that something was in the works. Mm-hmm. I think that's when everyone started reaching for their seats, like, ah, shit, what's gonna come? What's next? What's next? But,
so,
yeah, I mean, am I next for the movie?
Yeah, because number 6.
Yeah, this will be your number 6.
Let's see. Dark Knight, definitely. Okay. I mean, Dark Knight, Heath Ledger, iconic role. Can't go wrong with that shit. Yeah, I mean, just great Batman movie. To be honest, I can't really say too much about it. I mean, me as a moviegoer personally, like, I remember the cast, or some of the cast. I remember the actors in it, but it's like you guys seem like more, I want to say, more so in depth with the movies than I am right now. So granted, first time on here, I'm still getting a hang of everything.
It's cool. No worries. It's my number 1, and I add more to it once I get to my number 1.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, like,
I can jump off of it and everything and do it that way. That Dark Knight was actually my number 1 as well. So I can just go on ahead and bounce off of you on that and everything. So that'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so John, tell us about the Dark Knight.
Huh? What were you saying, Charlie?
Oh, tell us about it.
Okay, so the Dark Knight, I remember going to see this 3 times in the theater. The first time I saw it with a group of friends, and then I saw it again another time, and then I was with a date, someone that I was actually dating for my work, and I knew somebody in the theater, and like, I can hook you up with some free tickets. So I wound up getting some free tickets, and we went to see The Dark Knight. But I also remember when you know, people were actually talking about Heath Ledger about, oh, I don't think he's the right fit for the Joker or anything like that. I wasn't one of those people. I was like, okay, I want to see what he actually brings. And then all of a sudden, you know, I see the poster plastered up with the gun, with the Tommy gun and stuff like that, with his long purple trench coat and with the long hair, with the Joker makeup. I'm like, okay, I'm sold. And so from then on, I was rooting for The Dark Knight. And then when I saw this movie, it was just fantastic. From the delivery of Heath Ledger showing up and everything, and when he shows up with those other gangster in the gangster's basement, pretty much, and he says, "I'm gonna make this pencil disappear," and then all of a sudden, ta-da! And then that was one of my favorite deliveries of the Joker. That was the introduction into this world of the Joker. This was more of your realism Batman versus the comic book feel of Batman, because that's actually how Christopher Nolan wanted to actually do it. He wanted this to be more about realism versus doing the comic book stuff. And it actually works. I mean, for what he did with the first two films, it actually works. It benefits itself coming off of The Dark Knight Begins and also having The Dark Knight. You have Heath Ledger doing the best performance that he ever gave us, aside from A Knight's Tale, aside from the other movies that he's done. This movie was fantastic. From the writing, from the delivery of the lines, just from the whole entire makeup aspect of it as well. And just the dark humor that Heath Ledger actually brought to us was really good. And then also, too, you also have the struggle with Bruce and Batman, though, too, especially after the loss of his girlfriend. And then also, too, Harvey Dent, Two-Faces in this movie, too. And it's not crowding this in this movie at all, having two villains. I thought he did really good. So, what did you want to add, Charlie?
Oh, the movie was amazing. How I got into these Batman movies. It was like I was at my grandmother's house, and I think when Batman Begins came out, my dad's like, "Hey, you want to go? You want to do something? Let's see Batman Begins." I'm like, "Sure." So me and a bunch of my cousins and stuff, we all went to see it, and it was just that movie was great. And then I didn't pick up on the calling card at the end of the movie. And until I bought it, I think I bought like the special edition Blu-ray, which came with one of those movie money things that you get a free. So essentially, redeem this for a free ticket to see The Dark Knight. And then when I watched the end of it, here's his calling card. He's all about the dramatics like you are, and flip it over, it's the Joker. So they teased the Joker at the end of Batman Begins that they're going to, and then the hype around this movie, or that opening weekend. It is the highest. Right, I saw it with my dad and my brother and I. We saw it on a Sunday, and I call it, we were part of history. We were part of the highest grossing movie of the year in one weekend for how much money this movie made, and the hype around it, and the hype that it's Christian Bale coming on telling you, do not take your kids to see this movie, mainly because of Two-Face, because of how scary he looked. In 2008, I mean, to see nothing but bone and eye, like the eye popping out of this, how realistic they made this, and it's just the only performance I didn't care for was Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel. I actually liked the previous actress better for Rachel. I just thought when when she died, I was like, okay, I'm okay. I mean, Rachel was just there.
Katie Holmes version.
Yeah, Katie Holmes. Yeah, I liked her better. She was more than that. And then but the twist of about that sequence of him going to find Rachel end up being Harvey Dent. Just that sequence alone was so intense that you're rooting for them to find the right person. I mean, just everything about it, from the delivery. I'm like, I just want my phone call, or the Joker antagonizing the cop. Do you want to know which ones were sissies? Like, it's just the delivery of it. It's just, the movie was so good. I mean, it's just, I mean, I haven't watched it in 4K yet, but I want to. It's just like, and how the sequences were just, how everything was shot to the action. It just got me hooked on Christopher Nolan as a director, because he makes these movies that are entertaining, that he knows what he's doing. And it's just, The Dark Knight is just amazing. And then the action sequences, there's where the scene where the Joker's at the dinner party, and it's just, And then there's a group called, I think it was Evil Iguana. They did a trailer, like they spoofed everything. The way they spoofed the Dark Knight thing was this got the movie like this, like how popular this movie is. It's such a great movie, and it had to be my number one. It just nothing else came close to this movie for 2008. It was there's so many good, but this was just a fantastic movie.
And I have to agree with you on all levels on that part though too, because I remember at work when I was actually trying to watch the trailer for this. A buddy of mine is also the X-ray tech, and we're over there in his office trying to watch the trailer, and we're trying to wait for the Joker laugh. And as soon as we heard just the Joker laugh alone, we're like, yes, that's the Joker that we want. We don't have any idea what we're in store for. We just heard the laugh, and that was it. And that alone is what made us want to go out and see it.
I mean, well-deserved Oscar for Heath Ledger. It's such a shame that he died, but he was like he alone is like my bar for being a Joker. Like, I mean, like I said, I didn't see 2019's Joker. I didn't want to. I'm not a big Joaquin Phoenix fan. It's just like Heath Ledger did a fantastic job alone. We don't need to see an origin story, and then it's like no origin story. I mean, you're in Gotham. You gotta have Batman.
Yeah, I think after Heath Ledger passed away, like they should have left a longer gap of time before bringing another Joker into the spotlight. But I mean, that's my take. But as you said with that scene where he has to choose between his love interest or Harvey Dent. Like that's when you're at the edge of your seat. That's just like, fuck, who's he gonna pick? What's gonna happen?
And you knew he was picking Rachel. You just knew it's like, I'm going for Rachel. But it's just the twist about how as him being the Joker, it was a twist, and it was like, wow, Joker. I thought it was the Riddler that did that thing, because that's something Riddler would do. Like, riddle me this, Batman. Who are you gonna choose? Oh, I switched it up on you, like a riddle or whatever. And it's just that sequence is what I remember bigly about that movie. Is that, and it's just that chase sequence and that motorcycle of his, how it went from the tank to the motorcycle. That sequence was just cool. Was awesome. I'm like, the motorcycle was awesome though. And of course, I love the Batmobile, the tank. I mean, I love that tank. And then it's how it got destroyed. I'm like, oh, and then it's like, oh, motorcycle. It's awesome.
And I remember the kids in the tunnel where they're actually acting like they're shooting something, and all of a sudden this explosion just winds up happening, acting like that they're the ones who did that. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. So
and then this the Joker's performance, like, and like the sequence at dinner is like, let her go. I'm like, ooh, poor choice of words.
And then the other thing I liked though was the fight scenes between the Joker and him was really good, and everything, especially whenever he's in the interrogation room and he slams Joker's head on the table. He goes,
don't go for the head. Come on.
But
it's a great movie.
I think okay. So with that being said, I think it's back to me, I believe. So
I think it's me, because I didn't do my number 6 yet, and that was Step Brothers, and we discussed that. Yeah, we already discussed Step Brothers, so that was not my number 6. It was just a funny movie.
All right,
I think you're at number 5.
Yeah, I'm at my number 5, which will be Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood, which is actually one of my other favorite movies, because I know it's just that grumpy old man, get off my lawn type of thing, but I really like this movie because of the fact that he has this old school mentality of actually the way he's actually been brought up, and then you actually have the family members, all they're in it for and everything too is just to get his stuff and everything. And then the little girl, the granddaughter's like, where's the Wi-Fi at? I need Wi-Fi. And you're at a funeral for Clint Eastwood's wife that just passed away. Your grandmother just passed away, and all you care about is Wi-Fi. And they know how selfish they actually are. And Clint Eastwood actually thinks that he can take care of himself. It doesn't need anybody. So then all of a sudden this Vietnamese kid that's actually next door to him, he winds up becoming friends with him. At first, they're not getting along with the neighbors or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, the kid just starts coming over his house, and next thing you know, Clint Eastwood's just trying to teach him and everything of growing up. And it's a coming of age movie if you actually think about it. Whenever you look at the kid, and also has the drama and everything too, because the kid is actually learning things from Clint Eastwood's character and also trying to learn from him and growing with him. And they actually have this close bond. And by the time the movie actually wraps up and everything, I think they did a really good job at wrapping the movie up. I like the action sequences when the gang members come over to Clint Eastwood's house and Clint actually has to go ahead and fight them off. I thought that was really good. This movie is really good. It's a tearjerker. It pulls on your heartstrings. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It will pull on all aspects of how you actually view this film. But Gran Torino is definitely my number 5. So, did you guys see this movie? Did you guys like it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I think Clint Eastwood, I don't want to say he plays the same character in every movie, but he kind of plays the same character in every movie. I mean, it's like that tough guy that, ooh, what are you doing on my lawn type of guy. And right. It was a great movie. You're right. It was a coming of age story. He does go ahead and, he shows, hey, look, this is what it means to be a man. And, he helps raise the actor, in that movie, how to be a man, essentially, how to basically handle your own ground and, do what it takes to get to where you want to go. Other than that, I mean, that's all I got for that movie. Like I said, it's been years since I've seen it. Charlie, you take over.
I have not seen it. I know what happens in the end, though. I mean, it just, again, this is that just didn't really, it just didn't interest me. I didn't see it. I mean, I've seen a lot of his later work, and Clint Eastwood just, I think he just needs to, like, paint it up a little bit, because I think, like, he the quality's been going down after probably Torino. I mean, he did the Mule, which wasn't great. Richard Jewell was okay. I felt bad for the main character, but that, and then it's just, I don't know. It's just like this didn't seem like something I would want to watch. I mean, I watched Unforgiven at my film class at Salisbury, but that was entertaining. But then again, like I said, he's hit or miss. Like, I like his earlier stuff. When he's just an old guy, like Joe, you said, he kind of typecast as the old guy, grizzly old man, like, I don't know.
It's hilarious to see him as like a comedic actor. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, to see Clint Eastwood like do Tropic Thunder, I'd pay extra for that.
Me too. I would like to see him in the sequel or something. I think it'll be good. All right.
But yeah. Continuing on with the movie list, you guys honestly went through all my top 10. And after that, the only honorable mention I have is WALL-E. I mean, WALL-E was a good movie. I mean, it's good. Was it a Disney movie? It was a Disney movie, right? Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
It's like Benjamin Button. It's something different. Like, who would have thought a story of a robot on Earth when, everything has basically gone to shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, nothing really come after that. It was just a decent movie. 5 years old, hits you in the heart. Yeah. All right. Charlie, your turn.
The next two I had on my list, next three on my list, we kind of already discussed. I had 6 was Step Brothers, 5 was Tropic Thunder, and 4 was Iron Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my number 4 was actually the movie 21.
Oh, I know that movie.
Yeah, I actually like this movie because I'm into, here's the thing, I like good heist films. I also like good movies where it's dealing with the poker tables and stuff like that, which is why I like Casino Royale for 007, everything, because I like seeing stuff like that. And I thought, for them to actually have the cast, what they chose and everything for the cast was really good. Patrick, you can't go wrong with that cast. And also, too, Lawrence Fishburne's in this movie, who actually plays one of the casino owners. And also, too, you're wondering if these people are actually going to get away with actually cheating and betting with the blackjack tables and stuff. And
Mhm.
also too, I like how it's actually there's this college student who's just like like Boston and Harvard, who's just trying to get by, who's actually just trying to go on it. He's actually working in this suit and tie shop, just trying to get by with everything and just go to college and try and pay his tuition. And of course, Harvard and everything's all big money anyways. But all of a sudden, the teacher winds up telling him about gambling and stuff like that. And next thing you know it, they go to Vegas to hustle down some blackjack tables and things like that. And he had more money than he knew what to do with and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I thought it was really good. What about you, Charlie? What did you think?
I haven't seen it. I know of it.
Okay.
I just haven't seen it.
Sounds like a great movie. Haven't seen it also.
Okay. Yeah. To be honest with you and everything, every single time when this movie is either on or on Netflix, I just have to watch this film because of the fact that I just like movies that's dealing with gambling, when it's dealing with blackjack tables, casinos, and stuff like that. There's just something about it. I don't know if it's the Italian in me or not, but that's just something that I like. So I just thought 21 was just a fun movie. So that's my number 4. So let's see. So do you have anything else, Charlie, or was that everything that you
Yeah, I
had
got a
on your
couple
list?
others.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe, do you have any other movies on your list?
I mean, Zach and Mary make a porno. Like, that was funny. But like I said, I mean, we already went through, the top 10 I had on my list. Those were just other mentions.
Okay. All right, my number 3, Wanted, starring James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie. This movie was this definitely changed the game when it came to action movies for me. And this is, again, it's based off a comic book, which was actually really cool. And like when I first saw the trailer, like, okay, this is cool. Usually Jolie's in it. She's been in a lot of action movies. And then she said, "Curve the bullet." I'm like, wait, what do you mean bullets can curve? And I was like, when I saw the scene when the bullet curved around her to the target, I was like, whoa. And then so I was like, I was interested in the movie already. And then when I told my dad who the director was, and he was the director of Night Watch and Day Watch, and my dad, once I told him the director, he loved those movies. He was sold. So we went to go see this. This movie is just awesome. And like the opening action sequences, the car chase sequence. I mean, first time I ever heard Morgan Freeman drop the motherfucker line. I mean, it's just the moment for me, like, or the whole train action sequences. Everything had a lot of great action in it. I mean, and also it just adds poor Common being typecast as an assassin because he's a pretty good assassin. So anyway, the sequence that got me hooked on this movie is towards the end when Wesley goes back into the fraternity with the 2 guns and like in that slow motion style or fast frantic pace. Once I realized he was going back in there to have the shootout, I was like, no way. I didn't foresee that happening. And then of course the line by Morgan Freeman is like, oh, if as for the fraternity says, as Wesley wants, put your gun in your mouth, pull the trigger. If not, shoot this motherfucker. And I was like, whoa, Morgan Freeman dropping the F-bomb. I didn't see that coming. And then the idea of the trajectory of the bullet, about it rewinding it back in time and seeing where the bullet went, how far it went, to seeing Chris Pratt being as Wesley called him, the sack of shit best friend. I mean, that's Chris Pratt being in this movie. I didn't see that one. And then it's just the bullet going through the donut, just going for everything. And then Morgan Freeman just stepping on the X, the end, and like with him realizing he just got duped. I mean, the movie is just fantastic. The action was great. The curve of the bullet. It's just one of those great action movies.
Okay.
And then my number 2, I had Rambo. The Rambo in Burma when he went to Burma, like when he shot. Oh, this movie for me, as I credit it, is out. That's how I became friends with my Sean and Tim, was because of that movie. This movie was just, it was short, and it was one of the ones where being short was okay because when the action hit, nonstop. I mean, once Rambo like got to like once he like after he took him on the boat, he just like when he shot all of those like the Burma Burmese pirates, and then when he went back, when he found out as soon as they got taken, and he's like, where are they? And then he had him just quiet the whole time, and so it was like, and then he shows up with the bow and arrow, and he's like saying, all right, we need to move, and then that threat that he gave the mercenary guy is just, but. This movie is it was just classic Stallone. And it was just one of those violent movies. It's really violent, but it's Stallone kicking ass. And the sequence of him with the machete chopping the guy's head off, and then getting on the M90 machine gun on the tank, and this turning everybody to Swiss cheese on the windshield. I mean, and there's this going berserk on every single one of those those people that deserved it. It was just my favorite Rambo movie. It was just one of my favorites. It's just that's why it's my number 2. It was just so good.
Yeah,
and of course, my number 1 was.
Yeah, I haven't seen this movie in a while, so my mind is actually vaguely empty with it, so I don't really know that much or remember that much about it.
It has Rita from the Dexter movie in it. From Dexter show,
Right.
Rita's in it,
Yeah, I mean, it's like I liked Rambo, but the thing is, for me, it's like sometimes when I look at movies, I try to picture like, okay, well, what if it was like reality, in real life, and all I see is like freaking Sylvester Stallone just like walking back, like holding his hips, like ow, ow, pain, ow, ow, from all that running and everything. So when I watched the movie, that's all I could think of. It's like, he's running like what, half a mile, like he's got to be winded. You know what I mean? He's got to be exhausted. He's got to need to take some Advil or something after all that. But but nonetheless, it was a great movie.
It is. I mean, just seeing him run away from the atomic, like the setting up the mine, like underneath the nuclear missile or whatever that was. I mean, just seeing him run. I mean, it's just like this how he knew exactly what to do. Like it never turned off. And the interesting thing is, we almost never had this movie if they kept the original ending of First Blood. When he shoots him, like when his commander in chief shoots him, that's an alternate ending. The very First Blood shoots him, and he dies. So they decide not to do that, and then that's what it led to the other Rambo movies. That I mean, this is the one I was personally expecting from the latest Rambo. The latest Rambo is still entertaining nonetheless, but this one is just my favorite of the Rambos. It's just. I just remember this movie like so vividly. Anytime it's on, I'm watching it. It's so good. And it's because of after this got the Expendables, so I was happy on that.
That's good. But yeah, I remember this new Rambo and everything. Matter of fact, I called it Home Alone equals Saw equals Taken.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was.
That's what I actually called the last Rambo movie, which I had a good time watching that last Rambo movie, but I just wish I could actually remember this one that you saw.
Yeah, no, this one was good. I mean, I saw the cool thing about the last Rambo, it came out right on my birthday, like last year. So it came out, so I was able to go see it. I'm like, we got to go see this. It's on my birthday. We're seeing this new Rambo movie.
That's pretty cool. I like going to the movies on my birthday as well.
Yeah, I did too.
Let's see here. For my number 3, I have The Strangers, which is a horror movie with Tyler
Scott Speedman.
Yes, I like this movie for the simple reason it's a simple plot. It's simplistic. It's not overcomplicated. It's not oversaturated with characters. It's a setting in one area, which is something I really like because a lot can happen in one area versus having several different set pieces. And there's just something horrifying about somebody just knocking on the door or banging the door in while you're having dinner, and then these people just come in and they just want to kill you, and you don't know why they want to kill you, the motivation why they want to kill you, but the bottom line is they want to kill you. But there's no background music to let you know that there's something horrifying that's about to happen, which is something that I liked about it. The camera angles were really good. You can actually, there's no really any shaky cam, which is something that I really am happy about because you're able to see everything. Because I believe shaky cam can actually pull you out of the movie faster than anything when it comes down to horror films. and I want to be able to see everything. And I felt like I got to see everything I needed to see with the strangers. And matter of fact, I actually didn't feel like I was watching them being held hostage. I actually felt like I was with them and everything, and wanting to actually escape with them, versus just watching a film and I'm in my living room or whatever. I just felt like that I was actually engaged into the whole entire aspect that these people are actually being held hostage, and I was being held hostage with them. So just because of the whole entire setup. But I don't know if you guys seen this movie or not, but I enjoyed it. But I didn't like the second one, but this one actually holds a higher grade on my end as far as a horror movie in 2008.
I'm not a horror movie fan, so I didn't see it.
Okay.
Sounds like a great movie, but I didn't see it.
Okay. My number 2 would be Taken. I did see this in 2008 because there was like there was actually a special screening or whatever. So I actually got a chance to see this in 2008 before it got dropped in all over the movie theaters and everything in 2009. So that's why I actually have it in 2008. I actually did a review for this on the channel as well. I haven't seen Liam Neeson in anything since Darkman or anything after that. So, and I know his IMDb is huge. I know that he's been in other movies other than Darkman or whatever. But the last time I saw him in anything as a kid was Darkman. I didn't remember him in anything else. And to see him in Taken, what's that?
Is that you didn't see him in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace?
Oh, I might have actually.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
That's right. I forgot he was in that movie. Then again, I was trying to block out Jar Jar and everything else that was. That I didn't really care about. But anyways,
yes,
but
sorry.
it was just good to see Liam Neeson kicking ass and being as old as he is, to be able to do the stunt work, to be able to take down somebody, and then also him electrocuting someone without electricity, because in France and people in overseas, the current just stays charged. That part they actually got right. There is no cutoff limit like over here. Once you reach 250 volts, you're dead. Over there, there's no cutoff. So that's something that I actually liked, though, was the action sequences. You're on the edge of your seat the whole entire time. You're wondering if he's actually going to get his daughter back or not. And then, of course, you wind up finding out that she's actually trying to be sold to a sex trafficking and everything else, too. So you have him just tearing through France and just doing his thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, that's also where he gets typecast as the guy from Taken. Because everything else just feels like a Taken movie that he's actually been in.
And, well, for me, it wasn't really a bad thing. It's Liam Neeson kicking ass. In all the other movies that he's done since then, I've enjoyed. I mean, it's just... Again, I saw this in 2009, but when I saw the first trailer, I thought, okay, this might be pretty cool. But what really got me hooked on this movie is it was during one of the Fox NFL Sundays. It was right before kickoff. They showed another trailer for Taken, and this is the one where he's doing the knitting needles together. He's like, "Wake up! I need you to listen." And he stabs through the guy's leg with the knitting needles. I think it's in the director's cut of it. But seeing that, I'm like, holy crap! He just did that. I'm like, okay, we got to see this movie. And then it's like I saw this with my parents and my brother and sister. We saw, and this is the oldest movie ticket I have was Taken from 2009. When I saw this, it's like January 2009 or something. When I saw it, and this movie was just awesome. The action was great. Him and then and then his buddies calling him Rambo, and he just looked at him kind of really, or just like that. I mean, the intensity for this the whole time. And once he's chasing the parkour dude, I had a feeling he was going to get hit by the truck, and then to see him actually get hit by the truck still was pretty shocking. And it was just, but the action sequences were just fantastic, and then it's how this it was putting on just that one of those yes moments as soon as he finds his daughter and saves her, and then he's like, we can negotiate, and he was like, he was channeling his inner Bruce Willis on that one. He doesn't want to negotiate.
Yeah, negotiations went out the window as soon as you're trying to sell his daughter.
Sell his daughter that you want, and then the moment for me that was really intense was like when he found the guy Marco. You don't remember? We talked on the phone 2 days ago. I told you I'd find you. And his monologue. He's known for that monologue. I'm like that monologue that he gave on the phone was just like he means business. And then it was funny in the when they did the other take-ins, the daughter Maggie Grace, she was on I think Fallon or so, and then pretty much she was talking about how Liam Neeson's like the greatest at movie dad, and for one of the boyfriends that dumped her or whatever, he actually did the same monologue again and gave it to let her like record it, so she has that voice message the same. If you do that, I will find you or whatever. In real, he did it again. He did that monologue again. He's Liam Neeson's like this. Some of those that guy. I'm like, I'd watch most of the stuff that he's in. I'm like, I haven't watched Silence, which is the movie that everybody kept saying, oh yeah, this is the Martin Scorsese like Jesuit movie or whatever that came out in like 2016. Everybody says they watched 3 hours. Nobody watched. That's the only one I haven't seen of his. But him being typecast as Take and stuff, I'm like, I'm okay with it. He's enjoying it. I mean, he's having a good time, and he can do whatever he wants at this point.
Right. I feel like. Go on ahead, Joe.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay, I just feel like this. It's the same thing with Tom Cruise. He's at that age where it's like, I'm going to pump out as much action films before I can't do this until my age just slows me down. That's how I feel about Liam Neeson and also Tom Cruise on why they're actually doing what they're doing, which I commend them for. But go on, Joe. I know that you wanted to say something, though.
No, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, he's totally typecast in that movie. If I ever saw him like walking around in like Walmart, I'd give him my phone. I'd be like, do the line, call my friend, do it. But like on top of that too, like going through the list when we talked about 10,000 BC, I kind of thought of it. Taken is kind of a modern day 10,000 BC. If you kind of think about it, it's the same story. You know, someone the guy loved got taken, and the guy goes through hell to rescue her. You know, so I'm just like, ain't that something? But yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit on everything. You know, that's all I can think of him for, to be honest.
All right.
To go back to Liam Neeson a little bit, it's just funny after Taken, seeing him in like appearing in A Million Ways to Die in the West, him doing comedy. I mean, that he was hilarious in that movie. And then his brief appearance in Ted 2, asking about the tricks, and Ted's telling him, yeah, the tricks, are they just for kids? Yeah, no, you're fine. Anybody can eat it. And then he comes back in looking for the teddy bear, and he looks beat up. And then, of course, him voicing himself. Yeah. He's walking, and then you just know Liam Neeson's about to kick ass as soon as he's got that leather jacket on. Like, you know he means business once he's got that jacket on. I remember, Joe, we saw Taken 2 and when we were up at Salisbury.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I mean, you can't go wrong with the Taken series. Like, even though you know what it's going to be about, like, you can't go wrong with it.
If you expect a plot, don't go into it. Then you watch the movie. I mean, and then of course him voicing his voicing himself in the Family Guy episode about how Peter wants to beat up Liam Neeson. I mean, it's just he's like, okay, and just go to this bar, and you need to have somebody piss in your hand. I mean, it's just like, it's just like, I mean, he's like, once he wants to be funny, he can be funny, but it's just. But yeah, I mean, if you expect anything else from the Taken series, then you obviously were expecting something different.
Right.
I mean, honestly, you could just like keep going on with the Taken series, and like I could see Liam Neeson just being like, "How many times are you going to take her? Like, just leave her alone." Like, it'd be great if they just took Liam Neeson and then just had the wife try to rescue him. You know, just something different.
They can't do that now because they did the fugitive twist, having him kill the wife, and him like trying to clear his name.
And all I could think of was Taken 3 was Forrest Whitaker eating bagels through that whole entire movie.
Yeah, I didn't like him in that movie. It just didn't seem him. And it's like I just found him kind of annoying in it. I mean, I just watched it because I wanted to see Liam Neeson kick ass, and the shaky cam did not help. And and this for me, I just knew Stewart was bad. Spoiler alert, anybody who hasn't seen it, but you probably should have. I just knew as soon as they changed the actor for Stewart to this one guy, I think the bad guy from Durgery Scott. As soon as they had Durgery Scott play Stewart, I knew he was the bad guy because that always seems to be the case. Like when they switch a cast member, he's bad. Instead, like I knew that was going to happen, like from the get go, because it's just I've seen a lot of his other stuff, and he always plays bad guys. I mean, he's annoying, but I mean, it fit his character. I mean, but it's just, did you really think Liam Neeson wasn't gonna stop you?
Exactly. But yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to add to anything, or you're good on your list, or I'm just trying to make sure that we got everything.
That's all I had for my top 10. Again, there's a lot of stuff that's in my honorable mention and least favorite. I will discuss when we get to that. Don't worry, we want to mention that now.
I mean, I covered everything.
Okay, I did too. So with further ado, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me tonight. I do appreciate it. Another thing too, guys, is this: if you guys want to go on ahead, if you like what you see, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, share this with everybody, smash that share button. Another thing too, we also have a movie website for all your entertainment needs and pleasures and everything. It's also called www.movieloversunite.com. If you guys also want to donate to the page and everything, go on ahead, go to the GoFundMe page in the links below. Another thing too, we also have a Patreon that just got kickstarted over the weekend. Go on ahead, check that out at www.patreon.com/Movie Lovers Unite. And then, of course, we also have a Pinterest, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite. We also have an Instagram, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on there. And then, of course, on Twitter, you can follow me at JohnDeGorio8 or Movie Lovers Unit. And that's going to do it for tonight. I hope everyone has a great and safe night. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.